So today I'll be talking about social security. So if you work or you watch the news, you probably know what social security is. And my claim will be that social security is, well, it is today a flawed system. And my first reason would be the beneficiaries may not need it, while some people who needs it or need it, I never get to receive it. And secondly, the system is pretty outdated. And lastly, the social it puts our nation into debt. So the first claim was the beneficiaries may not need it, while some other people who need it cannot get it. So we know that if you work and then for a certain amount of time and then you can be eligible, but some people who are eligible for it and takes advantage of it may never need it, and that would be a waste of money on our nation's. But then again, just because you work doesn't mean you are eligible. So according to an article called "Who Never Receives Social Security Benefits" on the Journal Social Security Bulletin, to qualify for Social Security retirement benefits, a worker must accumulate 40 quarters of coverage. Nevertheless, accumulating 40 quarters of coverage requires at least 10 years. And that's because there's only like 4 quarters in a year. But yeah. And then a lot of people who don't get it are usually, they don't work constantly, they more like they work a while and then they stop working and then start working again. Or there are immigrants who come to America very late but still work. And among these people, let's see, in the same article, these people who are never eligible, 43% of late arriving immigrants are in poverty, while 57% of infrequent workers are in poverty as of 2010. And it clearly shows these people need Social Security more than some others. And now, the second claim was the system was outdated. Well, obviously, it was designed during FDR's time in 1935, and there's a huge difference between America then and now. So mainly, fertility rate has declined a lot, and we all know about the baby boomers. And also life expectancy has increased a lot as well. So before you only have, you work and then you retire and then maybe you receive your benefits for maybe like a few years and then you die. But now you can receive it. A lot of people receives it for more than a decade. And which leads to the last claim. It's putting our nation into debt. The baby boomers are now starting to receive the Social Security benefits, but they have a lot less kids. According to the Population Reference Bureau, the baby boomers have a lot less kids. Like each couple only have less than 1 kid on average, compared to before. Maybe some people have like 3 or 4 brothers, and which is putting a lot more strain on not only the children but also the government. And according to the Social Security Administration's report, ever since 2010, Social Security's expenditure has exceeded the taxes it received, and it's still the deficit is still growing. So that, in conclusion, Social Security is flawed with many problems. Mainly, some people who needs it never gets it. It's outdated. It needs to be fixed or adjusted, and it's really putting our nation into a fiscal issue.
All right, Powell, the proposition's pretty clearly stated. The phrasing needs to be a little bit sharper. The controversy, it sounds very generic, that there's something wrong with Social Security. I don't know that a lot of people would doubt that to begin with. The things that you cite as being the problems with Social Security, I think need a little bit more development. On the first point, you're talking about people who might need it and are not able to get it. It's kind of inconsistent. On the third point, you're complaining because we have an imbalance in the number of people who are paying into Social Security because our birth rates have changed. And in the first point, you're arguing that people who haven't been here and haven't contributed to the system for much period of time are not going to get any benefits. Those seem like they're kind of inconsistent positions to be taking. So if there's an argument that suggests that there is a fix, that might be a good argument to focus on, that there's a potential way to fix this problem and that it would work. I think that would make your argument a little bit more focused. As it is, it just seems like it's kind of a generic criticism of Social Security instead of something that's a little bit more forcefully advanced. The internal signposts are pretty clear. You sign and you label them as you get to each of those points. I do think that each of them needs a little bit more of the development than they get, but the second two got especially good information. You're inconsistent about citing some of that information. You mentioned, for instance, the average on the number of kids. It sounds like you're guessing about how many kids people used to have versus how many they're having now, and that doesn't make sense. You should be able to give us a source citation on that. I did like the quote at the end about the imbalance on the revenues. That needed to be developed a little bit when it comes to the impact, the fiscal impact. In other words, okay, so we got more money going out than we have coming in. Is that a permanent situation? When is it that we're going to run out of the money and the imbalance is going to come to fruition? What's the impact going to be at that point? I think that you need to develop that a little bit. I would say the first couple of minutes of the speech, you're not doing a very good job presenting. It feels like you're just kind of reading and going through it. I did think that you got better during the speech and that you talked to us a little bit more. Maybe it's because you relaxed and you talked more about the argument instead of just looking at the words. Like the first 2 minutes, it just sounded like you're reading words and you're not really making the argument. But like I said, it did get better as you went along. So you want to do more of that you did at the end of the speech. All right. Thank you.